Got any smokes? You got any cigarettes? Got any smokes? Got any smokes?
Nope, too swole to smoke.
But not too swole to drink?
Sounds about right.
Doesn't that make you
Nope, it doesn't.
a
A hippopotamus, maybe?
hypocrite?
No.
I think it does.
Well, you think of a lot of things, don't you?
Yes, sir.
Moving on. How'd the symbolism meetup go?
It didn't really happen. I mean, it happened, but I only had a ticket to attend if others failed to show up. So I went to East 47th Street. You know, they have that plaza outside the Japan Society. And it's a really nice, quiet part of Midtown, so I just lay there.
With or without the gong wheel thing?
Without it.
I see. Did you do anything else?
I lay there until I started to hallucinate. In the hallucination, I saw another dog. It was a somewhat less evil version of you, only voiced by Larry David. Or voiced by an actor attempting to sound like Larry David.
Or an actor attempting to sound like another actor attempting to sound like Larry David.
You're an asshole.
Just floating ideas.
Yeah, harmless fun. This is what I get for telling you anything about my inner life.
I'm so eager to hear more, Buttercup.
Gross. So I followed this dog.
Larry David?
Yeah, Larry. Let's just call him Larry. I mean, this wasn't actually Larry David. So I followed this dog in the hallucination, and he took me on a path of spiritual improvement. We would move through a fantasy city of gold, and at a certain intersection, he would turn to me and instruct me to listen to the stone walls of buildings on the corners. Initially, I was hesitant, but he urged me to have no fear. It was weird hearing this earnest guidance in Larry's voice, but I kept on listening. And pretty soon, a vision of a better world fell into place. I knew the steps that I would need to take to bring that vision about.
And is symbolism still part of the equation?
Yes, but symbolism can't be the main focus. Nothing can be the sole focus, lest it undermine the full vision of equality of all beings and things.
So how does all this end?
Well, I woke up from the hallucination finding myself repeatedly licking the gates to Gramercy Park. My theory is that I was walking through NYC as I was hallucinating that I was walking. I noticed that I only ever turned right angles in the hallucination, so that more or less corresponds with the street grid, right? So then, that grid suddenly ends with Gramercy, and I guess by instinct, I just started licking the gate like an ice cream cone.
Best way to lick it.
Really?
Yes, I've licked it many a time, just a different part of the city.
Where?
Ever heard of the Whispering Wall at Grand Central?
No.
Look it up. Anyway, a girlfriend took me there and tried to do the whisper thing, and I just started licking it.
Sounds awful.
She found it endearing.
You must have gotten a disease from that.
Nah, just got lucky that night.
TMI.
What? You tell me tons of stuff I don't want to hear. To say nothing of all those creeps you follow on Twitter oversharing about their mental health problems.
They're not creeps.
You're grounded.
You can't ground me.
You're fired.
You can't fire me. I quit.
Is this thing still on? Okay, this is Moses here. I'm talking to you. I'm talking to the audience. You see, I have a problem on my hand. You see, what just happened is just like the movies. They always try to quit, but only after you fire them. Isotope can't quit. I fired him beforehand, you see? They do this to me all the time. I'm a character in an online sketch series. I have no free will. I just do as my writer tells me. And sometimes my writer is just a pain in the ass. He gives me scripts I can't believe in. I say, hey man, do you believe this shit? The world doesn't work like this. He puts me into scenarios that make no sense. Do you really believe I'm a talking dog who licks public spaces in New York City and some dame finds it so impressive that I get laid that night? You believe this? Listen, between you and me, Isotope is actually a good guy. If anyone's fired, it's the guy who writes such shitty lines. You're fired. 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 Fired.